Day.
By the end, it didn't look too bad. We were down by 0.5%, but we had gotten rid of about half the losses that we saw in the morning. And really, we saw the banks bouncing, the energy sector finishing in the black, and that helped things. Commodities were down overnight, and that was a major drag all throughout the session. We did see copper prices down by 1.4%, gold prices down by 0.7%. So not surprising to see the material space down by 1.1%. The other theme was that very high Australian dollar. We did see it climbing in the Asian session today. So those stocks which do make a lot of their revenue offshore under pressure. We saw Brambles down by 1.3%, QBE also losing 1.3%, and we also saw a sell-off of some of the stars of the market. These are stocks like iProperty, which was down by 7.4% today, Xero, which was down by 5%, and also Freelancer, which lost almost 4%. All three of these stocks have actually gained more than 250% over the past year. So we saw a bit of a sell-off in some of those highly valued stocks on the market, and altogether I guess what was surprising about today's market is the very light volumes going through, given that tomorrow is actually the end of the quarter, and if we have a look at the quarter so far, it's been a pretty flat result for the Australian market. So we've given back all those gains from earnings season and looking like just a very flat result.
Moving sideways, a lack of sell conviction. I mean, what do you put that down to?
Because if we have a look at the market, there's still jitters around. We saw an uplift from the February earnings season, which was a little bit better than expected and the best earnings season that we have seen in a number of years. But then, of course, the jitters around Crimea, as well as what's happening in terms of China and the jitters there, really led the market to pull back quite substantially. If we have a look at the Australian share market, and this is just over the past year, you'll notice that really we have been in a sideways movement for the best part of 6 months. And we've been around these levels a few times before. This is the third time we're hitting those levels, and you can see that the other times that we've been around these levels we have seen a substantial pullback to around the 50-50 level, 5,050 points. So I guess that's what's led to expectations that we'll see a little bit of a deeper pullback, the fact that we have seen this pattern before a number of times over the past month. So just watching I guess China as a major catalyst as well, because China seems to be the biggest upside and downside risk for the market. If we do see some stimulus coming through from China, that would lead to upside risk, and of course no stimulus and continued jitters about the wealth situation over in China could lead to more downside risk for our market.
Julia, I love that graph that you've got there, and one of the things that I look at is on those two previous big dips there was a catalyst out of the US. And that's not what we're seeing at the moment. Everybody's wanting to see it, but it's not happening. So does this mean we're probably going to have this like false expectation of a correction, but in fact this is the Clayton's correction, if you like?
I think if we have a look at the US, the major thing that we've been having a look at is when interest rates are going to rise and the unwinding of quantitative easing. And in that regard, the view of the market is really that the Federal Reserve has outlined its expectations on what it's going to do over the next couple of years, and really it just seems to be in auto mode at the moment. So the market just seems to be discounting that fact a little bit, and really I think it's China that's a big one for us, because if we have a look at the area that's led to a lot of the pullback that we have seen in the market, it has been the commodity-based space, and then following on from that, the banking space. And often when you do see a sell-off in the big miners like BHP, Rio and the big four banks, it usually does it's usually because of overseas participation, because those overseas investors do tend to only invest in those big blue chips on the Aussie share market. So I guess probably a bit of international activity in Australia, often seen as a way to get access to growth in China, or conversely to pull out of growth when there's jitters around Chinese growth, and there's certainly a lot of that around at the moment.